Hello everyone, I'm Snigdha Kakkad and this is my channel AccelerateAICareers. Today I have brought you an easy level lead code problem, but it's a very interesting question asked in last 1 to 2 months of interviews in FAANG companies. So let's see, what does this question say? It's lead code 118 Pascal's triangle. You have been given an integer, just one integer, number of rows, num rows, and you have to return the first num rows of Pascal's triangle. Basically, like this triangle, what is a Pascal's triangle? In Pascal's triangle, each number is the sum of two numbers directly above it. So just assume there is a 0 here and there is a 0 here. So this number would be a sum of this 0 and this 1, hence 1. This number would be a sum of this 1 and this 0, hence 1. Then again assume there is a 0 here, there is a 0 here. And then this 1 would be a sum of 0 plus 1, 1. This number would be a sum of 1 plus 1, that is 2. And this number would be a sum of 1 plus 0, 1. And again in this row, the numbers would be like this. This number would be a sum of 0 plus 1, 1. This number would be a sum of 1 plus 2, 3. This number again would be a sum of 2 plus 1, 3. This number would be a sum of 1 plus 0. This number would be a sum of 0 plus 1, 1. This number would be a sum of 1 plus 3, 4. This number would be a sum of 3 plus 3, 6. This number would be a sum of 3 plus 1, 4. And this number finally would be the sum of 1 plus 0, 1. And you have to return all these sub-arrays in an array like this shown in the example here. So you will be given number of rows, which is like these. Number of rows is 5. And you have to return the sub-arrays in the output like this. Similarly, let's look at example 2. Here number of rows given to you is 1. So your output just be one row, which is 1. And you have to return it in the form of subarray. So nested array basically. So, and number of rows has a constraint that it would always be between 1 to 30. Okay. So now how would you solve this question? So the easiest or brute force approach to solve this question would be you pick a number and you put a 0 here and a 0 here, create a temporary array. And then you generate the next array by taking sum. And you do this for n, where n is your number of rows. And for every row, you go maximum till n, that is number of rows. Like this row is of size 5, which is number of rows, right? So basically, you are using a for loop within a for loop. And with nested for loop, you are computing each row and then appending it to your result. And you keep on doing this until you have exhausted your number of rows. So your type complexity here would be O of n square, where n is your number of rows. And your space complexity would be O of 1, because you're not using any additional space except if you construct a temporary array. If you construct a temporary array, then the space consumed by temporary array, that is O of n, would be your space complexity. Now, again, I'm explaining what we are going to do. We are going to use an outer loop to go from this index to this index, where this index is number of rows. So essentially O of n. And then you're using a nested for loop to go from this index to this index row wise and define that subarray. So basically, n into n would be your time complexity. We'll code it and you will understand it better when we code it together. If you have any doubts, ask them in the comments. I'll be happy to address it. So let's see, how do we code it? So first of all, I will initialize my result variable. And my result variable by default will have 1, because at least it will have one row. Now, I will initialize my first outer for loop for I in range. Since I've already defined one row here, so I have number of rows as num rows minus 1. I will define my temporary array like I said, and in temporary array, I will add 0 in the beginning and 0 in the end of the result. And in result, I don't need to take the entire result, I just need the prior row. So every time you're computing this row, you'll just use the prior row. So that's the last element of the result, and add a 0 in the beginning and add a 0 in the end. I'm again saying I'm not modifying my result. I'm just initializing a new temp array. Now I will initialize my current row with the empty array. After, I will write my nested loop for j in range length of result minus 1. Now I will just append row dot append. And what do I need to append? We always do the sum of two numbers directly above it. So that the sum of those two numbers would be temp j plus temp j plus 1. You have obtained your row You can append it to the result.append row, and you can return your result. That's your entire code. So let's run it. It's accepted. Let's submit. So as you see, our solution is doing really well here. So essentially, we used a nested loop, one to go from index 0 to num of rows, another to go from index 0 to num of rows in width. So that's how you are getting all your rows. Time complexity would be O of n squared. Now, if you like my way of solving problems, subscribe to my channel to get your notifications for your daily LeetCode challenge. Thank you.